and welcome to ET105. Today we are reviewing the basketball court number 1 drawing, and then we will introduce you to the next step of basketball court drawing. First of all, I wanted to review the steps that you needed to take in order to draw the court that was listed on this basketball court 1 assignment. Again, we were just doing a half court single line drawing with the following requirements that were you could download from the web page about this assignment. Just a quick review. So the first step, of course, is to establish your X and your Y line, and then start to set the parameters for the court. In this case, you would offset your distances, your width, and your length up to the half court line. So this is a half court parameter. So that would be the first step, so to speak. The next would be to add your reference line points. As you can see, I've labeled these anything from where the rim stands right there at this cross point, the backboard, the three-point line, free throw line, three-point curve, as well as the half court there. Then the next step would be to add your circles, and more reference lines. So this is kind of a drawing. You see there's a lot, it gets kind of messy and hairy for a while, but these are the reference lines that are made so that it's completely accurate as to the distances. And then one of the last steps that you do is, I have shown here, you take those lines and you clean up the court, basically clean up all of the unnecessary lines, and you should end up with something like this. So I'm going to walk you through the next assignment from here. So this is basketball court 1. It's a half court. Now the next assignment, basketball court 2, asks you to do the following. Let me pull this one up. It says, with your existing basketball court that you've created, do the following. Add some depth to each of the lines using the offset command, and I recommended a 0.05 unit each way. I'll give you a quick demonstration of that. Also, I say to use the fillet command on all of the expanded lines and clean up the drawings, so that instead of having a single line type of boundary for the court, you have a stripe, a thicker stripe, and I'll go through that. And then the last part is to use the mirror command, which I'll walk you through, to make the half court into a full court, turn it into a full court. Oh yes, and I forgot, there's one more part. And I also showed that you could use the copy command to do the same thing. I'll show you that. And then lastly is put in a logo of your favorite team, whether it's college or professional. It could be high school, and insert that into the court itself. And I'll walk you through that. So that's the assignment. Pretty straightforward. Let me walk you through how this works. So here I have a sample court of what I've drawn for the lab number 1. Now if you zoom in, you see that the lines are all straight, single lines. And then the assignment says to add a 0.05 width on the inside and the outside of each of the lines. So I'm going to show you quickly what that means. Go to the offset command, type in 0.05, push enter, then watch real close as I zoom in. Click on this line, go in, and then go out. See, see what offset does to the circle there. It creates a larger and smaller circle. In, out. You go through the lines there, in, out, and keep going here, in, out. Let me do the three-point line. It's in and out. You can see real close. Now notice how as I do the offset command, some of the lines overlap when they're angled together like that, and then some of them don't meet together at all. So I'll come back to that here in just a little bit. I'm not going to do all of the lines, but I am going to do several, so you get the idea here of what we're trying to build. We're trying to make the single line into a stripe. That's probably enough for now. Let me get the rim and the backboard some, and go from there. So what I have here is a partially completed set of courts, but you have all of these sections like this that are either overlapping and or not connected. So the next step here, I'm going to push escape twice, is to trim it up a little bit. So remember the trim command. If you click left click here and then come here, right click, it will help you to take off any excess lines, and it won't take this middle one off. We don't need the middle one because that's going to be kind of like a stripe on a basketball court. An example of what we are trying to accomplish here is listed in this, pulled up, I just typed in basketball court striping, and you can see that each of these courts, just when I queried it, it shows the striping up close. Show this playground here. This is from ProDunkHoops.com. Show that the stripes have some depth or some width to it as they connect together. Let me show another example of a court. There's a sideways court. This is just the striping again from it. So we're trying to create that in our drawing. And yet, in order to do that, you need to erase some, you need to trim some. So I'm going to erase this and that line. I'm going to push enter. I've clicked on it. Come out to, let's see, come here. And I'm going to be in erase command mode. Erase a lot of these. Oh, I don't want to erase that. I want to take everything out, but I do want to erase several things. It will take some time. These lines I need to trim, so I'm trimming it, right clicking, taking out those. Notice here as I have a lot of overlap, I just want to get rid of the parts of the stripes that are connected there. So I'm going to select this section here. This is not that one. I don't mean to do that, so I'm going to escape before I push enter. So here I need to trim, and I'm going to get real close, see if I can get that trimmed out. It's a little funny there, so I'm going to try and erase that little piece and push enter. So I'm cleaning up the court, and I'm not completely done, but you can see where I'm going though with this, trying to make it look like a stripe, like you see on the photos I showed earlier. Okay, so we're getting there. I'm getting closer, and we want to clean the whole place up. Oh, looks like I accidentally took too much out, so I'm gonna, in that case, I'm just gonna back up and keep pushing. What do you call it? The undo button or Control Z, and I can see where I made my mistake. So you might have to do a little bit of that, but then go back to pushing escape here, back to trimming out some more parts here. Trim that, and come back and erase this part here. So you see how it might take some time. It's a little tedious, but this area here is complete. And then, so now back to here. We have this stripe from the three-point arc, comes to this straight section, and then we have this gap here that's not filled in, and then I've trimmed away this other part and erased the lines inside. But what do you do about here? Well, you could take a line and just try and connect that. I've just connecting it on there, and that fills in the gap okay. You see how it angles here and then it angles again. But I'm going to show you a command here that also is useful. So I'm going to undo what I've just filled in there. Undo again. Okay. So pushing escape. The fillet command, it showed you the fillet command for filling in sections at 90-degree angles. I don't know if I've showed you that yet, but I'll show you how this one works. Again, I'm going to push escape. So if you have a gap here and it needs to be filled in, you could type in fillet and then click on one of three options. Today we're going to focus on the fillet itself. So if I click on that, I am in the fillet command, and then it asks to select the first object. What it is, it wants me to select the two lines that it wants to connect together. But before I do that, I need to make sure about something called the radius. Now the radius, it means the angle at which these lines will point or they will connect. And I'll show you, probably better to show you an example. Like I'm going to back out of this. I draw two lines here just on the side. Let's pretend that these lines were at right angles. And then another line here. I push L and then I push enter. And you have a line here. Okay, then you have another example of a set of lines where they are connected. So you have one area here, one where they're not, one they're connected, one they're not. If I use that fillet command, I click on fillet, it says for select first object. But if I do that, I select here and then select second object. See how it fills that in as a 90-degree angle. Now, pay attention here. If I back up, I'm going to undo it. So if I type in the fillet command and select the first item there, and then go to the radius and put in something, oh, let's just say it were a 0.5 radius. And then I come here, and as I run it over, I haven't pushed the button yet, but I'm going to left click here. So left click on there, and what does it do? It gives me a rounded corner with a radius of 0.5. Now let's try that again. Radius. I'll do the fillet command, check the radius. This time I'll do a radius of, let's say, a 0.1, just a small tiny radius. And then if I click here and click here, it says click the second object, it gives me a smaller radius. So you see the difference between the two. So if the radius is 0, it will be a point. If the radius is a 0.5 or a 1 or 2, it will be a rounded corner based off of as if the circle were sitting there. In this case, let's say the circle were a radius with a radius of 0.5, or in this case, excuse me, 0.5 here and a 1 or so here. So let's go back to our example here on the court. We want to fill that in. So if you do fillet, and then before touching these two objects, go to the radius, make sure the radius is a 0. I want it to be a point. And fill that in 1 and 2. See how that makes it nice and tight. So that is filled in. Now watch as I go to the corner here. Of course, there's lots of cleanup. I'll need to trim and then left click there, or right click. I'm going to trim out some things. I'm going to go to the erase command, erase that one and erase that. Push enter. Then I have this section here. If I fill it, make sure my radius is 0, and it looks like it already is. I'm going to type 0 anyway. It remembers what you did before, and as I come in here, that makes the court corner look nice and clean. So those are the assignment requirements for the lines. Now let's go through the last one, which is to put in a logo. So, oh, excuse me. Now let's go to the last one, which is last one or two, which is first of all to make a mirror image of this court, and secondly to put a logo in. So first of all, I'm going to get out of this command, type in escape, escape, and then go to highlight this, and I'm pushing delete. So let's pretend that I had this court here, and it was all done. It was all nice. The stripes were perfect, and I had cleaned it all up, like you see here on this area here, or right here. And it was all ready to go, and I just needed to do the other half of the court. So a couple of ways you could do it. One is to take the whole court, select the whole thing, in this case, and copy it. Make a copy of it, push copy. I'm going to put a base point of here. My ortho is on, so it's making straight lines across. If I were to turn that off, I could paste it anywhere. And I only want one copy. The next thing would be to highlight the whole thing again, and then rotate the object like that. Flip it around. I'm going to flip it around base point right here in the corner. And then you see how as I move it around, it lets it flip around. I can move it how I want. I want it to be fairly straight. In fact, I want it to be perfectly straight. So I'm going to turn on the ortho. Now it only goes in quick increments of 90 degrees. So if I click there, I have now rotated this drawing around, a copy of it. And now the last step is to take this and butt it up here. Well, I can do the move command, move here, and then it says select object. So I'm going to highlight this object here. Now that I'm done selecting, I push enter, and it says specify base point. Well, since I'm going to touch this line up to here, this line, let's go ahead and take a corner. I'm going to click that as my base point, and my ortho is on, so I'm going to turn it off. I can move it wherever I want, but as I get close, it sort of magnetizes in with the O snap, magnetizes that in, and sets it on top. So you see I've made a copy of the court. It didn't have to draw it twice, just drew it on top of itself, or copied and flipped it, and that is a copy. So let's pretend that I'm done with my court. I have some that are done here, all set. And I think these stripes are they're not quite cleaned up. So these are not cleaned up, but what I'm going to do is show you the last step, which is how to place a logo on this drawing here. So let's go through this part of finding a logo that we like. I'm going to pull up a web page. Let's go to the striping section, and let's just say you have a favorite team. We will call it, let's just say you really like the Chicago Bulls logo. So type that in, and it'll show up several different types of logos. I'm going to go into images itself, so I can see lots of different logo types, and I'll pick a simple one that I think might be nice. Let's just go with a Bulls logo. So I've clicked here. Now this particular logo has a checkerboard background. It's a little hard to see on the screen, but it barely has a checkerboard background. But that means that outside of what you see in terms of color, like black, red, and things, it's a clear background. So I'm going to right click on this. I'm going to save the image. Save the image. So it's called Chicago Bulls based off the website. And I'll put that one on, let's just put it in my downloads file. Oh no, let's go to the desktop file, desktop area. And with the desktop file, it's going to save. It's in a PNG format. So I'm saving that. So I've right-clicked on the picture itself and downloaded it, or saved it, excuse me, as the file. The title of it was Chicago Bulls. I didn't write that. That was somebody else. Then you go to your drawing here. Let's say I want to put it somewhere on the court here. So within the home ribbon, you see that home tab. Move over to the insert tab. It's one over from home to insert. Then you see the section there called attach. Now there's another one with a cloud and a paperclip that's attached. What we want is the normal attach, and I'm going to click on that, and it will come open up this new window. In this case, it's saying to look on your desktop. So I'm just going to find that picture that I put there. I think it was called the Chicago Bulls. I need to set this so I can see what was the date. So I'm going to change this so that it does the most recent date. So the most recent thing that was, there it is, downloaded, was the Chicago Bulls picture. It shows what it looks like there. So I'm going to double click on that, or just highlight it and click open. And then it takes you to this screen, and this screen says, all right, we're ready to attach this picture, but you can change the size of it if you want, some other small details. I'm just going to push OK. So yep, that's what I want. Then it takes me to this cursor, or this type of crosshairs, and it says specify insertion point. Now I could just drop it right here, but I'm going to put it here on the side so I can move it later. So I click on that. Now I've left-clicked it once. Notice how as I do that, it's like a string is attached to a corner, and I can make something bigger or smaller. So what it's saying is it's asking you how big do you want this to be. So I'm going to make it about this big here, right there. Not too big, right there. And see what it does. It dropped that logo there. So again, the steps are. Now I'll move that over. Take it back to the home, do the move command, select the object. Just give me a hint there. Select the object there, and I'm done selecting, so I push enter, and then specify a base point. I'm going to click there as a base. Now I can move it right there. So I have my Chicago Bulls logo there. It's a little bit hard to see with the color scheme, but those are the steps. Again, first of all, find a logo that you like. Find a logo that you like, and then from there, click on it, and then give this a minute to lighten up, to clear up. And then you right-click on it, save the image as, save it there, save it as a JPEG. In this case, it's a JPEG, JPG. But once you save that, I'm not going to save this one. Go back to your AutoCAD program, and then from the home key, go to the insert, and then attach there, and find the file that you had. In this case, it was the Chicago Bulls. I could look that up again where it was, and when you're done, it will take you to a window that helps you insert it and put it on there. So that is your assignment. To create this full court with full stripes and a logo, and good luck.